talking about business class, up in the sky and down on the ground.
I always look at the seat maps. I want to know what plane I'm on and what seat map and which seat you should have. It doesn't matter what class you're traveling. You want to know that you are in that right seat.
What is that seat?
If you're traveling at the front end, you want to be the first one off.
We think the best ideas come from when you take yourself out of one environment into a fresh environment.
Yeah.
Because you're surrounded by different energies. You're surrounded by different visuals, of course, in the service. And it allows your mind just to put away some of the mundane things.
So it's not necessarily about are you staying in the most glamorous hotel or not. It's that emotional connection that makes it very special.
Because 1 million points can give you so much more than $1 million.
Hi, welcome back. This is the Always Business Class podcast. I'm one of the co-hosts, Steve Hui. I'm the points whisperer. Steve Pirie-Nally is the destinations expert.
That's right. And here we are back at the Always Business Class podcast, which is always talking about business class up in the sky and down on the ground. And really excited to have Henrik from Accor Plus Explorer. Is that correct?
That's correct. I guess his business name is Accor Plus, but the product is, yes, Explorer.
It's a bit of a tongue twister.
It is a tongue twister. We tend now just call it Explorer. It's easier for people to remember. But yeah, the business we work for is Accor Plus, but the product that everybody knows now, the full name is Accor Plus Explorer.
Yes. And we've had a number of engagements from hosted meals at the beautiful Sofitel Wentworth, which we made sure that we only had 10 people and we got the 30% off, which is a great benefit of the Explorer membership. But what I found fascinating is just your experience in not only travel, but hospitality, but experience. And I kind of use this word architect, like you're an architect behind so much stuff that's happened behind closed doors. And I think me and Steve have always seen through things through the front door, not the back door. And I think this conversation is going to be absolutely fantastic. And if we just want to share a few numbers helping Accor's global distribution going from 542 million through to 1.2 billion, they are some big numbers. But I think more importantly is this loyalty program. I feel like you guys are leading the charge, and that from a number of years ago to where it is now through the revamp and the innovation of constantly speaking to customers to go, what else does the customer want? Not just a hotel room, like what is an experience? And it's no doubt why it's called the Explorer. So today's all about the architecture behind closed doors, and talking about your journey and being how many years now with Accor in and out?
I guess it's nudging close to 30. There was a little bit of break in there, but we're getting close to 30.
So what continues to pique your curiosity and excitement in the industry and what you've seen?
Well, there's a couple of, first of all, I must say I do love this industry. I do love hospitality. And if there's one thing, especially for small business owners, if you or your kids or your next generation want to learn how to run a business, working in a hotel is actually quite amazing. But it is at heart of it is a people business, but it's also business that's growing and changing. Many years it hasn't been the most cutting edge industry, but it is an industry that has a heart and that keeps on growing. And I think that's what I love about it.
And how's it changed? And what was the COVID? We had a bit of a circuit breaker, but we look at that, but there's been other circuit breakers along the way.
Yeah.
That you kind of came out of COVID and things have just innovated at hyperspeed. But what are some of those catalysts that you've seen help transform?
Yeah, I think that, COVID actually for our industry was quite heartbreaking because not only did we lose, people obviously, but we lost a lot of people from the industry, and it almost killed the service culture in our industry because people left for other industries because it was industry that came to full stop, right? But on the flip side, we then had to reboot it as it came up. And yes, there was revenge travel after it, but we had to innovate and rethink. And it's quite interesting that our global loyalty program, which is now called All Accor, but when it was relaunched was Accor Live Limitless. We actually launched that on the 3rd of December 2019. And we had the meeting in Paris the week before, we all flew home to our home countries, and we said to them, okay, don't say what I'm going to say, but don't muck this up, basically. And they all went back to our own countries, and then obviously the world went pear-shaped on that. So we had to reinvent that. We had to reboot that post-pandemic. And because it was so well crafted before, it allowed us to actually get going very quickly after the pandemic with some very innovative and new, different ways of working and thinking.
Steve.
Well, you just, fresh off the news, you just won an award.
Yes.
At the Australian Asia Pacific Loyalty.
Yes, we're very excited about that. That was, I must say, we were super pumped. We were down in Melbourne and got awarded Best Relaunch of a Loyalty Program Asia Pacific. And I think that what was the best part of it, it was voted by our peers. So it wasn't just a submission that looked good on paper, but it was actually voted by our peers. And I think that was a real recognition of the massive work that's gone in by people here in the region, people at head office in Paris. It was super exciting. It was 2 years of hard work, but yeah, very pumped and very grateful.
You're counting, was it like 100,000 hours or something like that? Was a statistic?
Actually, that's true. We did do that. There was a lot of hours that went into that, and that's probably just the paid hours. But but it was a true team effort. I know everybody says that, but it truly was. And obviously what the front of what people see is what changed, maybe the program changes and value proposition, but it was truly a revamp of the business and how we operate and how we work together as a team, how we work with global head office. It was a total transformation of the business. And for anyone who's changing businesses, feel free to reach out. But it's truly, it was a fascinating journey.
Yeah, and we're benefiting from the program already. Like all our members get, all the members of the Amex Platinum Charge Card, they've got all the Core Plus Explorer. Many people have activated. Some people that have not activated are now activating and finding out there's good benefits. Like actually just last weekend, I used the buy one, get one free.
Very good.
So we were moving apartments and we decided we didn't want to sleep in a crazy bomb site. So we stayed at Sofitel.
Very nice.
And I found one of the best deals ever. The price was $370 for 2 nights.
Not bad currently in the current environment.
Stunning.
Yeah.
But the buy one, get one free is such a good deal. And I think most people they're not thinking, I think most people think about using it when they go away, but staycations is excellent way of using that.
And I think that that was obviously one of the big changes we did to the program. Was one, it allowed much more availability, right? The new construct, but also it's also to get people to think of a hotel as a stay. Trying to move away, we just want to get away from one night and and then forget about the stay. You really want to experience something. And I know, Steve, you're very much about the journey, and Steve, you're very much about the destination. It is, for us, hotels is about the destination. We want people to enjoy, to experience, to truly come away with feeling refreshed.
Because we think the best ideas come from when you take yourself out of one environment into a fresh environment. Yeah. Because you're surrounded by different energies. You're surrounded by different visuals, of course, and the service. And it allows your mind just to put away some of the mundane things and it thinks about something else. So we and Steve, we chat constantly on WhatsApp, and a lot of good ideas came from that weekend. Yeah.
No, which is good. And that's what we encourage. We know that even as a business, right? Being in hospitality, we always used to travel a lot for business. Obviously, cost pressures is increasing, but there's no question you cannot do a deal with a partner or anyone if you don't meet face-to-face at some point. And traveling and getting that break and having an off-site meeting or catching up with friends and family, you need to do that. You cannot do that via Zoom call.
Yeah. And earlier, I think we were off camera, I'm not sure. We were talking about, we went to the Movenpick as well for lunch. Yeah. And three people went, $150 bill, $50 off. Like,
I think we actually use our membership as a bit of a circuit breaker, to be honest, because me and Steve, we are always business class. So 7 a.m. to 11 p.m. WhatsApp is going backwards and forwards because we just absolutely love what we're doing and what we're creating. And we found our new best friends, Manus and Claude. They're great sidekicks of ours. But we have to nudge each other, and we're actually going, hey, let's go out for a group lunch. Yeah. And I think this brings me on to the next point is like a lot of companies with loyalty, it's all about stacking benefits. But I actually think, again, this is a perfect opportunity to go behind the closed doors. It's like we don't just throw up some asterisks to go 2 free nights, 30% off for 10 people. There's like deep inner psychology around this explorer notion. And like I've been a massive believer of hosted dinners and sharing meals and never eat alone. There's a great book we've all probably read about Never Eat Alone because it's better sharing meals and conversations. So I'd love to just like go back to that time when you could reset, bring the team together, and let's just look at that dining experience because there was a bit of backwards and forwards in regards to everyone loves 50% because that's the transaction or the asterisks. But actually, we use it as our competitive advantage to always have 10 people at the table. So where did that, like, talk us through what happened behind closed doors to get to that?
Yeah, I mean, it was quite interesting because, yes, did have in the old program that it was actually always a progressive one. So it was from 10% up to 50%. It was super complicated for the members.
One equation is 1 over n, wasn't
exactly,
it?
Yes. Yeah, it was, and it was super hard for the hotels and for us teams in the hotels to run it and calculate and everything like that. But I think the main thing was we found more and more. We had people sitting at tables on 2. They're starting pulling tables together, and it's sort of it became a bad hack, right? And when we talk about loyalty programs, you want people to really enjoy it. You want people to enjoy a program in the spirit of the program and not trying to feel guilty about hacking it. So therefore, we decided, okay, the normal number of people dining was sitting about 5 or 6, most especially up in Asia, where there's always larger dining. And when we spoke to our food and beverage leaders within the company, they were really said, we got to look at this small group dining. Mm-hmm. They said, this is where the sweet spot is. This is where hotels plays a very different role to a normal restaurant on the street, right? It's trying to get that small dining, whether it be social or whether it be business, to get it back into the hotel. And that's where it came from. And the members loved it. There was good feedback on the research.
And what's been some aha moments from the first, how long has it been going now? 6 months?
6 months, yeah.
Yeah. What have been some aha moments that you didn't maybe see that's coming around the relaunch? Because we always are like, we don't actually know how good this is going to go until it's out.
There were some internal things that we were worried about. We actually thought we would have a lot more cancellations of program. People say, this is not for me, I don't like it. And we had actually built this platform to handle all the cancellations. And out of a program of 500,000, I think we had actively probably about 40 or 50 program cancellations on the day and or membership cancellation. And
that you built a system.
We built a system for it. And
Come on, optimism.
Yeah, exactly. And we're thinking, okay, we could have saved some money in there. But so I think the acceptance of the new program, that was a real good feeling. After that initial vocal minority was a little bit reticent, it turned very quickly, very positively. The dining was a bit of a surprise. I don't think we had played it up enough. We were very focused on the stay. So the dining, how popular the dining became very quickly for the small group dining. And also the global member discount. I think that was the other thing, that we had always been a very much of an Asia Pacific program. The members had clearly told us, give us something that's global. Mm-hmm. And it meant that members, especially in this region, they're now staying with us rest of the world as well.
Yeah, 15% of global hotels. I want to dive a bit deeper into changes, because every business owner who's listened to this will be looking to make changes to their business.
Yeah.
Introducing price increases, this and that service. And every business owner is frightened to go, oh no, if I introduce this change, my customer's going to run.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
And you just demonstrated that actually customers don't run as long as you still have a very strong value proposition. there might be some customers who are unhappy. It'd be very interesting to know the people that have cancelled, whether they've actually re-signed later. Because in the heat of the moment, I'm cancelling. 3 months later, actually, it's not bad. I'm going to rejoin. So I think for most business owners, for things like price rises, I've always known that you're always very scared. And once you introduce it, you realize what was the big deal? Should have done it 6 months ago, 12 months ago.
And those are, I mean, pricing quite an interesting, as I said in the previous program, we had pretty much different price in every market, right? And there was based on different reasons. Hotel prices in India is lower than they are in Singapore, etc. So it was value proposition. But again, coming back to how people use loyalty program, we had there for people that were buying, living in Korea, buying in Malaysia, living in Australia, buying in Fiji. People were actively working, trying to hack the system. And part of that thinking, it shouldn't have to be that. You shouldn't have to really shop around. You should focus on what is the value proposition? Is it worth for me? And then we do that. So, which meant that in some market, the prices went up a fair bit. But it also meant that we probably got different customers. Or we know we got different customers from it. So it worked out. But I think that whole, if you're making a major transformation on your business, yes, you need to do your homework. Now, we decided we kept a lot of it internal because obviously we have a lot of knowledge in the business, but we worked very closely with partners. We worked with consultants. We worked with behavioral scientists to how to react that. We worked with, dedicated people to do training. We worked with consultancy company. And I think you need to make that investment to reach out to specialists, right? You may have a knowledge how you run the business, but do talk to specialists and also weird ones, right? As I said, behavioral scientists, we thought, why do we need to talk to them? But it was super important. When you have a program that's been around for 30 years and you start to tinker with it, you really need to understand how people are going to react, right?
And did they react according to what you planned to?
I think they did. The proof is in the pudding. I think 6 months later, certainly the program hadn't fallen nowhere. We're doing great guns. We're getting a lot of new partners in it. Membership are growing. Churn is dropping down. I think all the indicators are there that the people are loving it, right? So we're quite pleased with that investment. It took a while.
But you can have a holiday now.
Well, I did have a holiday recent, and I stayed at, when we're talking about Mövenpick, I stayed at the Mövenpick in Hobart, and great hotel, but talking about connection, Chef Glenn there, who I met by coincidence because the GPS sent me to the back entry of the hotel instead of the front entries. We're trying to unload our bags, and Chef was coming out probably from his break, said, "Hey, can I give you a hand with the bags?" And they said, "No, but I hope to eat in your restaurant later on." And he managed to get a table on Valentine's Day, which I forgot it was.
Well done.
And he cooked for us at the table, right? Out of a massive big Parmesan cheese. And it's that emotional connection, right? So it's not necessarily about are you staying in the most glamorous hotel or not. It's that emotional connection what makes it very special.
Hey, I was just going to ask, because you've been working in the industry for 30 years, where do you choose to go? Because you've got the whole world at your fingertips.
It depends, obviously. If it's leisure, I do like smaller boutique hotels because you get that connection. I tend to stay in hotels where I know the GM, which is quite a few of them, because you're looked after a little bit extra. But then again, these days, I think our members get first choice and staff get second. But I tend to smaller, little bit boutique hotels. Whereas I travel for business, I probably want the larger ones, which, you have all the facilities, everything work. It's easy to get in and out. I have not seen enough of West Coast of Australia. And as I said, spent 2 weeks in Tasmania, and that was amazing.
Tasmania is my favorite. Obviously, married to a Tasmanian. And my parents, and I made that same mistake as well, as Google Maps taking me to the back entrance. But great spot, and being able to walk everywhere from that property. So loyalty, right? Like business, if it's not, it should be your number one sort of like priority is like how to build. We had our event last night, and one of our new members, restaurant second generation, and it's in the middle of nowhere, but it's well patroned, but loyalty. So everyone seeks to have the gold standard when it comes to loyalty, but it's so multi-layered. So I really want to kind of like go deeper into loyalty, and you kind of touched on it just then, from transactional loyalty to emotional loyalty. Back in the day, it was just always about discount, transaction, versus what you just touched on there is these little things that actually don't cost a business considerable money. But so how has loyalty changed in 30 years for you? And then like, what is the evolution of loyalty? And I'd love to kind of.
Yeah, no, and it's obviously has changed. I mean, it's interesting Accor as a company, we only launched our first loyalty program in 2008. So we were quite late to the party. But one that was really interesting, when I came back after my stint overseas with Accor, came back to Australia, and it was sort of the rise where all the reviews were coming around. Everybody was doing reviews. And,
TripAdvisor.
Yeah, TripAdvisor and everything like that. And the big question then was, so how do you respond to reviews, right? Whereas a CEO at that time made it very clear, it's like, should we not fix it in the first place so there are no bad reviews? And it was very much, we are a service company, and how do we actually make sure that they give good service to start with? Then we don't need to worry about reviews. And that then changed into, okay, what is it that makes us different? What is it that gives us a different heart? And it was very clear that loyalty was a big part of that. And we flipped it then to that we're a service company, but we're a loyalty business. We're in the business of loyalty. And that became a culture. So that was the first step, I think, was building the culture of loyalty and getting sense. So it was genuine, right? Because you can build the best program if your team members do not feel that it's genuine and they don't believe in it. So it was built from that start, something which we then called peopleology, which is now called the Heartist program, which is actually a global program. But then you have the program, then you have the benefits. And as I said, post-pandemic, we supercharged the loyalty program. And there, I think it was things with, it wasn't just about the stay, it was about partners that helped you on the way to the hotel or where you lived. It was about, making sure the benefits were easy to understand and deliverable. And whether you stayed in an Ibis or a Sofitel or a Raffles, wherever you stayed, you should get good benefits. So I think at the core of it, it is about the culture, the service culture and the loyalty culture. Then comes the benefits, making sure they're clear. And then comes the partnerships in there that augments the loyalty part.
And I love that peopleology, which I think we talked about at our last roadshow. And something that, again, truly fascinates me is that Accor is, it's over 5,000 properties. Can't remember how many is actually in the program. But it's not just the property level. You've got so many people to get on this journey of, well, you guys, I think, were the first to charge subscription membership loyalty.
Yeah.
But you've got a complex ecosystem of front of office, F&B, everything to get. So the training, development. But what I see is there's people like the butler, Kayum in Sofitel in Auckland, where we stay as our staycation room over there. He's been there for ages. He loves his job. Yeah. But that's consistent, I find, a lot across a lot of Accor properties versus other chains. And I'm like, does it come back to that peopleology? Like, why are people so lit up to work at Accor? Yeah.
I think, we should be a bit proud of, I say that as a Swedish Australian, but we should be very proud of living in this part of the world, of being Australians or Pacific. I think a lot of great things comes from this region. And I would say that a lot of the DNA that came from service culture and from loyalty came from Asia Pacific region, right? In all fairness, I believe that the whole service culture, what we, as I said, now call Heartist training, it makes you feel very special, right? It makes it feel very natural. We are not picking on anyone, but probably the American chains are a little bit more by the book. At the heart of it, we are French. Therefore, we are a little bit, probably a little bit flexible. And especially in this region, it comes from the heart, right? And that's what makes it different. That's why you get people stay with the company for a long time, or people like me who come back to the company because they missed it.
What are some of the things where Ken that you can do in other regions that you can't do, say, in Australia, because there might be just differences in labour, differences in technology or infrastructure?
I think the only thing that's different here is probably scale. As I said, when I had a stint outside of Accor and worked on a more of a loyalty program, which is more payment embedded loyalty, the biggest challenge we had there was scale. We actually had clients in the US, we had clients in the Middle East, but it was far away, hard to manage that remotely. But in Australia, it's probably scale. I think this region is an amazing testing ground for lots of things. Mm-hmm. We get Accor globally to test things down here because it's sort of easy market to start things. We have control of it. Same thing up in Asia. You can test things in Singapore and you can replicate it elsewhere in similar market. So I think it's a breeding ground for amazing concepts and ideas for anyone who's running a small business here. The question is, how do you scale it, right? And that's where you need international. That's where you need connections around the world. That's why you need to go to Asia. But boy, are there some cool things coming out of this region. I must say it's a very creative region.
Because we look at the house of brands as well. So again, how things move so quickly. And I feel like it's maybe you guys do like some of the American change again, not hey, we like staying in all brands, is that by being by the book and maybe much bigger, that they can't pivot and acquire and change and move. And I feel like, with your deal, we're staying at the 25 hours.
Yeah.
Very cool, funky. I know Dubai is one of the most popular places up there, that you are listening and literally turning properties around to meet market. Like there's maybe less ibises now. There's other like tribers coming online. Like for people that don't actually know the full stack of cards under Accor, and then you go super like Orient Express, that kind of is a partnership, like constantly seeking outside the hotel room and creating these experiences, well, partnerships. Like, that fascinates me how quick you can actually move for being such a large company.
Yeah, and it's I think we're now up to 48 brands,
wow.
And I think that's just the hotel brands. And some of these brands have 2 hotels, right? But it's not about that every brand needs to have hundreds and hundreds of hotels. It's about one thing is giving owners of the hotels a reason to develop something and they feel pride of it. Or they do like a more uniform product for that. However, it's really for the travelers. And that's where the loyalty program comes in, I guess, in a certain sense that, yes, you have all these different brands, but they are connected through the global loyalty program. And in our region, they're connected through the Explorer program, which binds them together. So you can move from different brands and still be part of a global benefit.
How do you so let's get into some fun facts now. So obviously you travel a lot. I'm glad we could lock you down in this room for an hour before probably jet setting somewhere else. Is
Singapore tomorrow?
Singapore,
yeah.
What does a typical flight look like for you? What are some habits, non-negotiables for Henrik when he's flying left?
Yeah, it's funny. I must say, I fly less these days, unfortunately.
We need to sort that out.
Exactly.
You got some tips.
I'm sure there are, and but I think the key thing for me, travel habits, they die very slowly. Right? I always pack, unfortunately, too much. I prepare myself for the flight. I'd like to know what plane I'm on. I was trained that by my previous boss, always knowing what plane type you're on. And always select my seat. I want to have a specific seat.
A specific seat number?
Yeah, seat number. Where it's, I really look on the seat maps. I always look at the seat maps. I want to know what plane I'm on and what seat map and which seat you should have. It doesn't matter what class you're traveling. You want to know that you are in that right seat.
What is that seat?
It depends. I mean, obviously, if you're traveling at the front end, you want to be the first one off. You always going to sit.
Are you a 1A?
Yeah, but a while since I was in 1A, but you want to sit in that one seat that you get serviced quickly, that you get off the plane quickly. If you're traveling in other class, it's more about leg room and, is there somebody sitting next to you? What's the configuration on the plane? Is it 242? Is it 333? And, are you going to have somebody climbing over you or not climbing over you and everything like that?
We're talking about that today, actually. It's jeepers, if you're on the window and you're in economy, obviously flying domestic, it's like, if someone's doing deep work on the aisle seat, you're in a bit of trouble.
And hydration as well.
Yes, exactly.
Are you a Boeing man or Airbus?
Probably more Airbus.
Good answer. Good answer.
In this, although I do like the original, obviously 747.
She's a beauty, cool. Queen of the skies.
Lufthansa only flies them now, I think.
Yeah.
And then the great unlock. So you guys were the first around subscription. Like, man, that must have been a big thing to kind of go, we're going to charge and $349 a year. But we all know, you do the maths. Have an accountant sitting over there. It's all about cost versus benefit. The guy absolutely does very well out of it. But taking a membership, like of subscription revenue, it's in every business now. Everyone's dreaming of it. But to take something from 250,000 members, which is no small number, to 500,000, like, what was a great unlock there? Like, that's double.
I think the big difference from us came, to be totally transparent, the business started as a telesales business, right? And when you do telesales, you can do the true storytelling. You can sit down and talk to somebody over the phone. People used to be a lot more willing to talk over the phone, and you can do the storytelling. You can, talk to them where you're traveling, what you're doing, what you use it for. Obviously, now it's much faster consumption. Now you need to be a lot clearer with your value proposition. You need to be able to do the numbers very quickly, right? You need to see that this makes sense, but you also need to deliver on it. So in the past, in the old program, yes, it was very easy to sell to people that you got one free night. But if you didn't have access to that one free night, people will leave after 12 months, right? And that we didn't want to be in that play. So what we have now is, I think, a value proposition that's very simple to understand. You can do numbers on it, even if you're not an accountant. It sort of stacks up straight away. But I think the interesting thing, it's probably a space which, probably many people in this audience listening to, is that SME market where no one's really cracked in Australia. I mean, you doing it really well for how you convert your points and how you make points work for you as a business. Qantas Business Rewards do, obviously, their value proposition. But when it comes to the hotels, no one's really cracked that. And I think that we are in that space. I was doing some numbers before that if you had a business that probably spends about $50,000 a year on hotel and dining, you probably have 7 people in your company that maybe spends 20 nights a year each of them, which is not a lot, right?
No.
If you would not be buying an Explorer membership for those 7 people, you're probably leaving about $14,000 on the table, which is $50,000, $14,000 savings. You're the accountant, Steve?
Yeah.
That's pretty good return, I would say.
Adds up. And it makes there's 2 things, either you're saving money or stretches your budget so you can have more meetings.
Absolutely.
And do more deals. Because the whole purpose of traveling is to do deals. Otherwise, you wouldn't go. So even, I think some companies think about, well, how do we cut budget? But cutting budget is not the answer. Actually, how do you make your money go further so you get more multiplier?
Especially right now with AI and Zoom calls, we're all burnt out. There's nothing better than sitting around a table and having a glass of water or a beer or champagne, eating a meal and doing a deal. Like it's,
and also,
far more enjoyable.
I think there's so much business owners have thinking about things so much. Sometimes we find it easy for us that where we're going to go for dinner, or let's go to a core hotel and we know we're going to get 30% off. You don't have to then think about all these options, consider this and that deal, this deal. You've already made enough decisions that day. You don't have time. You don't have time or brain power to make another decision.
So I think the
So that
cognitive
solves-
load of business owners, or just cognitive load of everyone, parents, I'm a parent, is overwhelming in regards to how much we're getting fed digitally. And travel is no different. We're getting offers, we're looking at billboards, we're looking at papers. And so our biggest job actually is inspiring people to travel, because we know there's points trauma out there, that there's billions of points that are sitting in people's back pockets, either whatever airline, they're all sitting out there that they need inspiring to go traveling. So this nudge effect that we keep talking about is, so we're using AI to our advantage to understand our customers better and how we can change behavior to go, well, if you know you're going to Europe, let's change that. But instead of booking last minute, let's get it locked in. You got something to look forward to. And I think that's something you guys are also in the AI space with GPT being one of their launch partners. I know they kind of done a reverse, but like what is the future of innovation with travel? And the pyramid, right? The travel, loyalty, and subscription. So we talked about no one in travel is really, I feel like it's an untapped market, especially in this SME market, that like we travel Sydney, Brisbane, Melbourne. It takes us half an hour to look at hotels, and it's overwhelming. There's thousands of hotels. Sure, we've got a core, but we've got lots of options. Whereas how do you create the ultimate subscription service for customers in travel?
And it's
sorry, I got a bit lit up.
No, that's good. I mean, two things on that one. One is that curation that you're talking about. How do you curate something? And I was thinking when we're talking about subscriptions, the classical subscription is obviously streaming, right? So if you look at two types of people, so you got people that are movie buffs, and then you got people that are movie lovers, right? The movie buffs probably they go into whatever SBS on demand or another really cool service called Canopy, which I suggest look up. It's how you use the library services of Australia to get free streaming. But you're probably looking for specific genres. You're deeping in. You're doing your research. You're going to find different things. You're going deep. You want to find what it is, right?
Yep.
Then for movie lovers, it's the Netflix and Amazon Prime, right?
Yep.
You get served something up. We think you like this. This suits you. This is what you want to play in, and it helps you on the way, right? And I think that for us, for Explorer, we are that subscription service. We are the ones that, yes, you pay a little bit for it, but it serves you up. It gives you ideas. It gives you hacks. It gives you how to maximize your program. Whereas the sort of SBS on demand is probably more your traditional loyalty program, where you're hunting your points, you're finding out the different things. You're pretty much on your own, but it's free, right?
Yep.
So now, of course, we can combine the best of both because you get points with subscription for us. But I think that's where travel needs to go to. It used to be all about the Expedias and Booking.com and giving you as many deals as you want. That's not what people want anymore. They want to be served up. Think, what are your suggestions? Where can you go? Where can I go today? Where could I dine today? That's what we're moving more towards. And yeah, there are some very clever people behind the scenes on getting much better on serving that up for our members. So I think that's where the future is. That's why I think subscription in travel is untapped. And we're very happy to be ahead of the curve on that one.
Definitely. Yeah, the curation thing is definitely, and the and who you travel with as well, I think is maybe a new frontier. So obviously with Flights Club and our Antarctica experience, and we've shared about how a core are really diving deep into experiences. And you go onto your app and you see experiences, whether it's F1, whether it's so you're creating this amazing ecosystem that lives and breathes outside the hotel room. So I'd love you to kind of talk about that partnership stuff that, every month there's a new, like, how do we bring something else to our members? So we bought iFLYflat, which is obviously health and longevity. People would on the outside maybe go, well, what's going on there? But we all know wellness is huge and health is huge, and integrating that. And we had a great turnout of like 250 all the core members learning about health. But partnerships with you guys, and experiences. Yeah,
that's really gone ballistic and very, very strong. I think partnerships across the board We have, well, through all Accor, certainly we have more than most, but it's trying to find something that suits individuals at that time. So yes, you can have lots of different partnerships. You can't force all the partnerships on everybody at the same time. So you need to curate the partnerships as well, right? So we are there. I mean, we have a great partnership, and I think a true reflection of good partnerships, or great partnerships, is you let the other partner do the talking about you, right? It shouldn't be you telling about yourself, but you get the other person. And if it becomes natural, if it becomes genuine, that's where partnership works. And I think that works in business as well. If your relationship is purely transactional, your business will never grow. You need partnership. You need mutual respect for each other. You can drive that. On the member experience, on the experience part of thing, yes, we have external partners as well that we work with, like here, Accor Stadium, obviously, which is branded and lots of events there. But what I think is really, really cool, which we're growing, is all the experience delivered by the hotels. The hotels have some amazing partnerships, whether it be with theatre or musical or anything around, or whiskey or whatever it might be. And they are just so keen to showcase their hotels and their partnerships and bringing that to our members. I mean, our member events are normally oversubscribed a few times.
Well, I think you enable and empower at a local level, which I think was what we felt over obviously crazy weeks of January and February in Melbourne, which, we're lucky enough to go to F1 and the Pullman across the road, literally the best place to stay right across from the track. And that collaboration that you did with Amex for the first time, I thought that was great. You're literally going to like an Amex activation within a Pullman Accor. Yeah, that's pretty cool. That was fantastic.
Well, we met at a Cars and Patty.
Yes, exactly. Exactly. That was a member event. That was amazing. That was the Software Wentworth's 60th anniversary.
Yeah.
So I think partnerships are crucial. Partnerships are there as a distribution partner. You obviously get sales from it, but also partnerships for emotional connection and engagement are equally important. So.
What are your main channels for sales? Now do you do telesales anymore?
Yeah, we do. So we still have telesales, and we have a lot of people that, everybody says no one talks on the phone anymore. That's not true.
Yeah.
And in certain countries, telesales is stronger, right? So that's certainly around. Then obviously digital is very, very strong, and people actually coming to us or being promoted. Hotel sales is another really important one. You stay in a hotel, you're doing the numbers very quickly there. But partnerships is probably the fastest growing one. So as we said before, like with American Express here in Australia, embedded in the product, we do similar things up across Asia, and where partners find, hey, this is a no-brainer. I can get a really strong value add and give that to my cardholders. And most of them do it as in retention strategy. So they keep on giving it year on year. So it's not necessarily just a one-off acquisition, but they embed our product in their product and making sure that their clients stay year in and year out.
Yeah.
And that's the biggest one. That's the fastest growing one.
Yeah.
Which is very exciting.
Geez, time flies. I'm just looking at the clock up there and it's like 45 minutes, and we could keep on going to talk about so many other experiences, like you being behind these Antarctica flights that happened, the deals that you've done throughout this. But I think this is what we love about this partnership, that it continues to evolve, the conversations do, and you guys are willing to try outside the box things as well. And I think that as SME business partners and that sort of stuff, I think that is awesome. We just love and we appreciate the partnership and making not only our lives better, but also our business members. And then it's like, as me and Steve say, we just want to bring more joy to business owners, but that then has a rippling effect in the household. But I think we've only got one opportunity to be able to do this incredibly well. So as a co-architect of this All Accor Plus Explorer transformation, I want to hear it from your mouth, the actual benefits and the why.
The most obvious one is what we call the Stay Plus free night. And as I said, that is really, you have an opportunity across 1,300 hotels in Asia Pacific, and later this year, new countries around the world. Stay tuned. It allows you to do a little mini vacation, or you get a little bit of cost saving on a longer vacation. But it's really, and it might even allow you to stay in hotels that would have been out of the financial reach before. So I think the stay plus 3 nights and 2 of those is amazing for that. The other regional one, as we've spoken at great length, is the dining and beverage discount, 30% on food and 15% off beverage, which is up to 10 people. For me, that is that group dining. That's a winner. And it's not just good for business, it's good for social and friends and get you together. So those are probably the 2 hero ones here regionally. Then you have the global benefits, one which is the status boost that takes you up to gold at least. And if you're already active traveling, it can take you up to platinum. And it just unlocks those global benefits wherever you stay within a core around the world. And the last one, which we mentioned, which is the new global 15% discount of member rate. So those are probably the 4 easy to understand ones. When you get deeper into it, as I said, member experiences. That's what people love.
And just opening up the app, and it's such a delightful experience. I literally don't need to feel like I need to get onto a desktop. Whereas other platforms, programs, it's like I can browse on here, but then I have to go to a computer. Yeah. It's seamless. It's fantastic. Yeah. And gotta love your little Spotify take home of playing back your experiences. There's nothing better than getting to the end of the year, and me and Steve were sharing our how many Accor properties they used at. Of course he won. He's competitive, but the playback, and that's these emotional points. But there's another reason why. Obviously, we wanted to embed All Accor Plus Explorer into our new membership, which is will be out by the time this podcast comes. So Steve, maybe talk, like, we all like gold things, right? So here's the time to be able to talk about our Flights Club Explore.
Yeah, so membership. we put this together just around the Winter Olympics, and it was gold, and that was like, wow, newsflash for us. So we managed to, under our new Flights Club Explore membership tier, we've actually get our triple gold. So we got All Accor Plus Explorer, which includes Accor Gold. Then we got a benefit with Virgin Business Flyer, which will get you Virgin Gold. And then we got a partner called Passport Rewards, which they have a travel benefit and a gold benefit there. So basically instantly triple gold. I did some maths, so I've been an accountant. You save yourself having to spend $10,000 to reach Virgin Gold tier, and you save yourself spending $5,000 to get to Accor Gold. So there's all this money that you don't even have to spend. It gets there straight away. We've got the business blueprint. So my knowledge and IP for the last 12 years of how to use points for business owners, how to earn them, how the best way to utilize them, best ways not to use them, and actually basically turning points into flights. So 13 years of experience wrapped up into a little mini course. What else have we got? We've got a benefit of A&P, where they have a bank account, which is actually not quite well known, but actually most business bank accounts earn no interest in Australia. So people have all this money sitting around in the operating cash flow or BAS payments. Now they can earn you Qantas points. So we have a deal with them that offers double Qantas points for the rest of the year. And we got 9 benefits in total. What other benefits?
Pay.com, obviously, premium. So, but yeah, and we've wanted to bring the ladder down, because we know generally our Black and Platinum membership was the higher tier and higher turnover, but now it's like anyone. We want to be able to create more points millionaires for Australian business owners, because 1 million points can give you so much more than $1 million, we feel, and being able to layer that up in the air, on the ground, and as you travel. So, and yeah, don't do too many podcasts, because you end up doing partnerships. So anyway, like, this was our first one with July with Ethan, great Australian founder. Again, we love highlighting awesome Australian business owners. We end up buying 1,000 suitcase. So for the first time, we've got a co-branded suitcase. So for $2,000, you literally get a pack of memories. It's basically to roll with
your travel stack. People talk about tech stack.
We got a travel stack.
Travel stack.
Love it. Yeah. Love it.
So Henrik, thank you so much. We really appreciate the support and all your team behind the scenes, like Valeska, Selena, just everyone. So thank you so much, and thanks for coming on the podcast and sharing all your wisdom. I can't wait to see the next innovation that comes out of All Accor Plus Explorer. So thanks.
No, thank you. Thank you both, Steve and Steve. It's always good fun to be here. And the team are hard at work on next evolution.